charge of the quality control group at my last company. Before that, I was district manager for a year.
And what managing skills would you say those jobs required?
I was responsible for staying on budget. I wrote the employee evaluations, made sure we stayed on schedule.
Great. What about working directly with customers?
As district manager, I had direct contact with all the major customers in our region. If they had a problem, they called me and I handled it.
Wow. Well, that's all I've got to ask. You're hired.
No. Is that it? That's your entire interview?
Hey, I'm new with this. That's why I need your help. Donaldson's telling me that I can't start the new job until I hire my own replacement. And as they're going to be working under me, I want to make sure it's somebody who can handle the job.
Well, get used to it. When you move upstairs, you're going to be doing a lot of this.
I guess so. So save me. You're the expert. What did I leave out? Red Vine?
No, thanks. Well, first thing, in my opinion, just asking about a person's previous skills and background doesn't necessarily tell you if they're a good fit for the job. Remember Lowell?
Ugh, don't remind me.
His resume fit the job we hired him for perfectly, just like a glove. He had all the right skills.
He was just impossible to work with.
Exactly. We didn't find that out until after we'd hired him. And remember all the time and money it took us to get us out of that mess? I learned from that experience that the biggest mistake you can make is to hire someone with the right skills but the wrong mindset. You can teach skills, but you can't teach attitudes. People can change what they know a lot easier than they can change who they are.
Well, granted, but how can you tell who someone is from a job interview?
You ask the right questions. But first, you're making me hungry. What do you say we continue this over lunch?
Sure. Why don't we just go down to the lunchroom? It's Wednesday. Sloppy Joe's.
Sure.
So you've got me intrigued. You're not suggesting I just flat ask. Are you a decent person or are you an intolerable jerk who nobody can work with?
No, there is a more subtle way.
And if there is, I'd love to hear it.
Find out how they behaved in the past. How someone behaved in the past is the surest indicator of how they'll behave in the future. Have them describe how they handled a specific incident that called for whatever attitude it is that you're looking for.
Isn't that what they call behavioral interviewing?
Right, but I take it the next step and use it as a technique for revealing attitudes. Let's say you have to fill a position that requires someone who needs to be calm under pressure. You could ask them, what's the most stressful situation you've ever been in on the job and how did you handle it?
Orion, hi.
Oh, hey, Terrence. What's up?
Excuse me. I left that customer file on your desk. I got everything ironed out, and everybody's happy.
Oh, great. Thanks a lot. Hey, Terrence, this is Matt. He works in R&D.
Hey, Matt.
Nice to meet you.
You know, we were just discussing interviewing. Do you mind if I ask you a sample question just to show him what I mean?
No problem.
Tell me about a time when you were under a tremendous amount of stress, and how did you handle it?
Well, let's say stress. 2 weeks ago, I had one day to put together a presentation for a product I knew zero about. I mean, that was 5 days of work crammed into one.
So what'd you do?
Well, for one, I went up to tech support and got help. For another, when I really started feeling stressed, I went out and I walked around the building.
Did that help?
Well, I got that presentation done, so, and I got a little exercise, so.
That's great. Thanks a lot.
No problem. Later.
See you later.
Wow.
See? How he handled that situation in the past is a pretty good indication of how he'll handle things in the future.
And that's why I came to you for help, Ryan. I want to be able to hire guys like that.
The trick is finding them. It pays to take advantage of new resources for finding qualified applicants, like internet classifieds and corporate websites. Another good idea is to get referrals from existing employees. They know better than anybody what kinds of people work best in your organization.
So tell me about hiring Terrence.
You know, he's a good example because he had less experience than some of the other candidates.
Really? So why did you hire him?
Well, had a lot to do with how I prepared myself for the interview. Since I hadn't hired anyone for that position before, I had to figure out what attitudes were critical for succeeding at that job. I looked over the job description and I asked myself, what attitudes or personality traits does this job require? Then I asked other customer reps what attitudes they thought were important. To make sure I understood what they meant, I asked for examples. Using that list, I came up with questions about specific situations that called for each of those attitudes. For example, one question I came up with was, have you ever had to present a product to a new customer after it's been rejected by the last two?
Which would tell you about what? Enthusiasm?